Good morning, folks. My name's Sandy. This is Sawing with Sandy. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been around before, you probably noticed that things are a bit different than they once were. Right here is brand new to me, Wallenstein LXT115. Now this is the other model that Wallenstein makes that I'm going to talk to you guys about today. Up until now, for the past probably 6 or 7 months, I've been using the LXT95 by Wallenstein. Same manufacturer, just a slightly smaller model, different applications. This one here is their bigger model, the 115, as I mentioned. This thing is highway towable. Obviously, it's got bigger tires. It's probably the first thing you're noticing. It's also got a longer bed on it. It's got a bigger grapple opening. It can reach further horizontally. It can reach higher vertically. And it's got a bigger engine and a whole bunch of other things. That's what we're going to talk about today. I am pretty excited. This thing is going to be living here with me for quite some time, and I hope you guys continue to come along and learn as I learn. Here we go. So this thing right here, if you're not familiar, this is for loading logs. Pretty obvious. This is going to load these logs on the right in just a minute onto the trailer. But before we get there, let's talk a little bit about the specs. This thing has an 11-foot bed on it to load logs on. That is 3 feet longer than my LXT95, which had an 8-foot bed. This also has a grapple, which will open up to 40 inches. The LXT95 would open up to 30 inches. I mentioned a moment ago the horizontal reach. It's going to go all the way out to about 11.5 feet, whereas when we were dealing with the LXT95, we were at about 9.5 feet. Vertically, we're at about 15 foot 5 inches in terms of a reach. The other model, we were just over 12 feet. So quite a bit different there in terms of its capacities. It still has a 360-degree rotation for the grapple, 270-degree rotation for the arm or for the boom, and some other things you're going to notice here. Same thing with the LXT95. It has the pins that can go into place on all of these uprights, but I have them out right now so that if I bump it with a log, it moves, self-centers, and it doesn't get bent. Now, just some other things you're going to notice. As I mentioned, the tires are quite a bit bigger. These are radial tires for the highway. So this is coming in right just under 31 inches. Specific size here. Let's see what we're dealing with. Can't quite remember. Where are they? Right down to the bottom. 235 80 R16. All right, as I said, they are radial tires. These have electric brakes on both axles. That is one significant difference compared to the other LXT95. The LXT95 is designed for off-road use. That log loader trailer has surge brakes. It has electric brakes, but only on one axle. As I said, this has electric brakes on both axles. No surge brakes here. Now, with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about the coupling system. So currently I have it hooked up to my tractor, and no, this is not permanent. I just put them there for now. So I've got a hitch pin there to tow around with my tractor. This swivels, but if you don't have a tractor that you're going to tow this trailer with, you can take this and actually reverse it. That bolt back there comes out. This mounts back here, so it's out of the way. And then you've got a 2 5/16 ball you can use on your truck to tow it on the highway. Now, before I get away here, let's just talk about the jack. So we've got a heavy duty jack here. Down around the bottom, you've got a pin. And we'll just take that out. And you guys can see there, you've got a telescopic lower portion to the jack, so you don't have to lift it all the way up and down. You can get it most of the way, and then you just pull it up, pin it into place, put the pin back into place, and take the weight off when you need it. Other than that, coming around, you'll notice the engine is different. It's still a Briggs & Stratton Vanguard, but now it's a 10 horsepower. The LXT95 was 6.5 horsepower. So a bit more power, obviously. That's going to allow for a bit more capacity on the lift. This is going to lift at full extension, 1,200 pounds. Looking up top here, we also have a hydraulic winch. This is an option you can put on this trailer, and I had it on the LXT95, the other log loader trailer as well. This winch, though, has a bit more oomph to it. That'll pull 3,200 pounds. It is run hydraulically, just like the other trailer was. And so we'll put that into use here at some point. Down around the back here, we have lights. So the other trailer did not have lights on it. This one does, because you potentially will take it on the highway, on the road. So we've got our markers here, side markers. You'll notice the other one up there, the orange one. And then we've got our Lights down here. Here's your one for your license plate. Right, there's your light for that. This particular trailer, it is heavier, so the overall weight of this is just under 2,500 pounds. The other one was at 1,650 pounds. That's the LXT95. This trailer does have a walking axle, as they say, just like the LXT95 does. So these wheels will move like this over uneven terrain. Now, this particular trailer does not have an axle that slides back and forward hydraulically. The LXT95 did have that, and the reason it had that was it allowed you to control the tongue weight, making it more or less depending on what your tow vehicle was going to be. This one here, it is assumed based on its load capacity, which is 11,500 pounds, that you're going to be towing it with a pretty good piece of equipment or truck. So therefore, there's no sliding axle on this. Getting back to the load capacity, as I said, 11,500 pounds is what this is rated at. Now the LXT95 log loader trailer, it had a load capacity of 5,000 pounds. So quite a bit more on this unit. And as you can see, the build is quite a bit beefier overall. It's bigger. And so it's going to provide you that extra capacity. Now looking on the outriggers here, you'll notice we have these little holders, which is quite nice, right? So that's on both sides. When we talk about the rotation of the overall boom, as I'll call it, there are two hydraulic motors that take care of that. One here, and then there's one on the other side, so they work in unison. We also have some safety features, just like on the LXT95. So we have a pin that comes down that prevents the boom from shifting when you're not moving. Up front here, we have the same basic controls. So we have the main controls here on the left and the right side here. We have our outrigger control, and then right here we have our control for the winch. Now this right here is adjustable, so this control station, or all the valves rather, you can move them left and right. So underneath here, just like we had on the LXT95, you can loosen this off, pull it to the right, move it to the left, and obviously if I'm going to be lifting logs on the left, I'm going to move this to the right, and then I'm further away from the working area, quite a bit safer. Down below here, we've got our hydraulic filter. Okay, so you can see it right there. Hydraulic tank for our fluid, 7-pin hookup. So when you take it on the highway and you want the lights and the brakes, you can plug that in. Right here is our breakaway cable. So this would go on to your tow vehicle as well. That way, if anything ever happened and this pulled, that would apply the brakes. As I said before, a 2 5/16 hitch would do the trick here. Okay, we have our pin right there. And one thing that's interesting, you'll notice how it's bolted on here. So you could probably take that off and put like a pintle hitch on there if you needed to. One thing you'll notice on this trailer that you may not have seen on the LXT95 is this little step here. This step is going to help me when these outriggers are down to be able to reach the control for the winch. Now, talking about the winch up there, you may not be able to see, but that is synthetic winch line. And you can see the hook on this side. And we'll, as I said before, we'll put that into action before long. Now down a little bit further, here's the pins. Okay, so I've got the pins in place on this front piece. Obviously it's not going to rotate, but these ones here, I have the pins taken out so it can rotate. Here we've got a spot you can do a bit of a tie out here. Maybe if you got your load on and you're going to take it down the road, well, obviously you want to secure it. So that would be where you could put a strap around. Looking back here at the hubs, you'll notice they're 8-bolt hubs, so quite beefy there, and lots of grease fittings everywhere, as one would expect, which is great. And just one more spec off the top of my head that I can think of is the tongue weight. This, as it sits, is at 555 pounds. Throw a few logs on there, obviously that will change, but right now 555 is where we're at. Now overall, one of the reasons I got this is I want to be able to compare how this operates, how this works in my day-to-day around the bush here, compared with that of the LXT95. The LXT95 is on to other things. It's on to somebody else. It has been a great log loader trailer, but I wanted something just a little bit bigger to compare it to, and that's why this thing is here. Now, those of you with a really keen eye will notice that this is not brand new. No, it is not. There are some scuffs and things of that nature, but that is all right. Log loader trailers are not there to be shined up with wax and looked at. They're to be used. That's exactly what we're going to do. Let's move some of these logs, and I'm going to be learning just as you do, so let's hope it goes well. Here we go. Well, from a first use, I'd say this thing's pretty slick. With a 40-inch opening, you can certainly grab onto some good sized logs there. That's a white pine on top. I think we're right around an 8 foot, maybe just under. Got to be all of 20, maybe 22 inches there, maybe 24 at the widest. Good size jag there. Bottom piece, this is a white pine as well, not really that big. Up here I've got 2 birch pieces I picked up. They're certainly heavier than white pine. And then I put this piece on that I'm going to take off here shortly. That's another length of white pine, and that looks to be right around 10 feet or so. Now I'm going to take the hardwood pieces off. I just put them up here to try them out because I had them piled. I'm going to just put the white pine on in a minute because those are going to be headed to the sawmill before long. So I've got that piece over there. I might have a piece or 2 in here, and there's that, and those 2 will come off, and we'll be all loaded up. Let's try that out. Well, folks, there we have it. There's the very first use for me of the Wallenstein LXT115. This operates very similarly to the LXT95. Obviously, just a bit bigger, a bit more lifting force, and obviously the bed there is a little bit longer. I put some big ones up there. You guys can see the top 2 logs. They're pretty good size, and one thing I am noticing is the closer you get with the grapple to the trailer, the more weight you can lift. At full extension, you're at 11.5 feet out. You're lifting 1,200 pounds, but the closer you get, that number goes up. So the closer I can get to the logs right off the start, the more I can lift, and obviously the winch on the top is going to help me with that if I can't drive right next to it. So very happy with how things have gone right off the start. you're going to be seeing an awful lot of this getting used around here, because this is one of my most useful tools, and it probably is going to find its way behind the tractor quite a bit. So hopefully you guys join me for those videos coming up. And if you have any questions at all about this unit, the 115 or the LXT95 that recently left, feel free to put it down below. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like this video, and I'll see you next time.